So what I've been talking about today is the importance of long-term thinking and long-term effects. So we live in a very short-term world these days where people tend to measure success in the very short term. But actually what we can achieve in the short term is very different from what we can achieve in the long term. So I've been arguing for a focus on a balanced approach where we build long-term success in through the kinds of emotional and fame campaigns that we use. And if we don't do that, then brands will not grow and succeed as powerfully as they could in the long term. So the real danger here is that we are all becoming very short-term focused, and that ultimately damages our long-term success. So that's my big warning to marketers here today. I mean, the unfortunate truth is that the long term essentially is more than 6 months. And a lot of companies work in shorter time horizons than that. So a lot of companies are thinking short-term regularly. So classic short-term sales activation will be perhaps a new product message, a new feature of a brand, or perhaps some kind of seasonal message. So summer is coming, we need to get a new bikini, or whatever it is. Classic seasonal activational messages. So they tend to be rational, they tend to make us think about the product because we have some need or there is a promotional offer. Long-term emotional brand building activities about making us feel differently about the brand, emotionally drawn to us, we want it for some reason, we like it, we love it maybe, we hear a lot about it, and that's different, that works over the long term, but it's a different kind of strategy. And I've shown some quite powerful examples of that here today. We've looked at Evian, we've looked at Doritos, for instance, both of which tried to change the way people feel about that brand, and that's really powerful for the long term. Data suggests to us that we need to do both. We need to do the long-term brand building as well as short-term sales activation, and that there is a balance to strike, and that the ideal balance is typically around about 60% on brand building, 40% on activation. It'll vary a little from market to market, but that's a good start point. One of the great strengths of emotional marketing is its influence on pricing, and we know from the data that campaigns that influence pricing as well as simply selling more volume are at least twice as likely to be profitable, and it's a very big impact on profitability. So this is something we really need to do. We need to drive pricing, we need to drive volume as well. And that means that we have to be emotional, we have to try and get people talking about the brand, because the way these things work is that people are prepared to pay more for brands that make them feel good, or that their network, their social network, all feel good about. It makes us value that brand, to treasure that brand a little more. And that means we're prepared to pay more for it. A really, really important effect of emotional marketing. So you need to convince the board that, like any investment, there is a return on investment for this, that if we invest in brand building, that it will make the job of selling easier and easier and will improve the return on investment we generally get from the money we spend in marketing. And there is a pretty strong case to be delivered from the data that I've been showing. And I find quite a lot of my marketing clients invite me back to present to their boards, particularly the finance people in companies. And I've found that if you present the evidence, the hard data, to people from a financial background, that there is a commercial benefit, there is hard profit to be gained from investing money in brand building, that they understand that. They're not fools. They just need the evidence to believe it. And the trouble I think that we find in marketing is that we tend to believe in things in marketing. We don't tend to seek evidence as much as we should. People from a financial background won't cross the road unless they see a profit in it. So we have to give them the argument, the data and the reasoned argument to want to invest. I derive mischievous pleasure from disproving commonly held beliefs, and I have a real passion to reveal what I think the digital communications world are telling us all the time to be actually not entirely true. There is a very, very well-funded digital PR machine in the world that keeps telling us that old media are dead and the only way forward is through new digital media. Actually, the truth is we need both. We need both. In the same way that Facebook and Google are all using traditional media to advertise themselves now, that is the truth, and I derive enormous pleasure from trying to reveal to marketers that actually they need to be a little bit suspicious about what they hear from the digital community. I think the important piece of guiding advice is to be distinctive, to worry more about being distinctive, getting noticed, than necessarily trying to be different. And there is an important difference between being distinctive and different. So we need to find ideas that will excite people. And we won't do that by studying other people in the category. I think inspiration always is best found in other categories. So read lots of case studies, but not from the category you're in, from other categories, and try and apply that learning, try and apply that thinking to the category you're in. Draw inspiration from it. All the great brand success stories did something that no one had thought of doing in that category. It may have been an act of genius, but I think often they improved their chances of success by just seeing what other people have done in lots of other categories and applying it to their own. There's a great book which all planners should read, which is Eating the Big Fish by Adam Morgan, which is all about thinking in new and different ways. So if you want inspiration, read Eating the Big Fish.